It began as humanity's greatest archaeological achievement, an alien artifact unearthed during a lunar excavation. Decades earlier, humanity had set foot on the moon for the first time, but this discovery was different. The artifact, a monolithic structure of iridescent black metal embedded in the Sea of Tranquility, was uncovered by accident during routine drilling by a private mining corporation. It stood 20 feet tall and 10 feet wide, its surface etched with complex geometric patterns that seemed to shift under scrutiny. The artifact's discovery had been heralded as proof of extraterrestrial intelligence. Scientists, philosophers, and conspiracy theorists alike were drawn to it. But as the years turned into decades and no discernible activity emanated from the artifact, the fervor around it faded. It was labeled the Lunar Relic and placed under a United Nations Science Division, UNSDS, oversight program. Public interest waned, and the artifact became another mysterious relic, cataloged but unexplained. The activation, Dr. Laura Voss, a leading astrophysicist specializing in alien technologies, had dedicated her life to the study of the lunar relic. On the morning of August 12th, 2097, she stood in the command center of the UNSD Lunar Research Facility, her eyes fixed on the live feed of the artifact. The surface of the relic was as inert as ever, yet something had shifted. A faint hum filled the air, originating from the artifact. Power surge detected, came the voice of her assistant, Ravi Patel, from across the room. The monitors displayed an energy reading spiking off the charts. Is it an internal mechanism or external interference? Ilara demanded, her voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. Ravi shook his head. No external sources. It's coming from within the artifact. The hum escalated to a resonant vibration, reverberating through the facility. Then, without warning, the artifact emitted a brilliant flash of light, temporarily blinding everyone in the room. When Ilara's vision cleared, the artifact had transformed. The once static patterns on its surface now flowed like liquid mercury, and a series of symbols illuminated in a sequence that seemed to anything but random. Get me a translation, team, Ilara ordered, her voice tinged with urgency, and notify Earth this is no longer a dormant relic. The signal, and by the time Earth was alerted, the artifact had begun transmitting a signal into deep space. The UNSD deployed its top cryptographers and linguists, but the message defied immediate decryption. The transmission was a pulse, rhythmic and unrelenting, aimed at a region of the galaxy 400 light-years away. Global leaders convened emergency sessions, debating the potential implications. Was the signal a distress call, a greeting, or a warning? The artifact had gone from an enigmatic relic to an existential question mark. The public, kept in the dark for decades about the artifact's true nature, erupted into panic when the news broke, theories and dissent. Dr. Voss became the face of humanity's scientific response, addressing an anxious world in a televised statement. We cannot yet determine the intent of this signal, she said, her voice calm but resolute. What we do know is that this artifact was placed here deliberately. Someone or something wanted it to be found. The timing of its activation suggests it's responding to conditions we have yet to understand. Not everyone was convinced. Military factions and political leaders viewed the activation as a prelude to invasion. General Marcus Drake, head of the Global Defense Initiative, GDI, argued for immediate action. We can't sit idly by, Drake declared at a press conference. This could be a Trojan horse designed to compromise our defenses. We must be prepared for any contingency. This rhetoric divided the world. Some called for aggressive measures, including attempts to destroy the artifact, while others advocated for continued research and caution. Unearthing the truth, and Alara and her team worked tirelessly to decode the artifact's symbols, employing quantum computers and advanced AI systems. After weeks of painstaking analysis, they identified a pattern linking the symbols to stellar coordinates. The artifact's creators had encoded a map, uh, not just to a distant star system, but to several locations scattered across the solar system. These coordinates correspond to sites we've previously dismissed as natural anomalies, Ravi explained, pointing to a holographic projection of the solar system. If this is accurate, there's more than one artifact. Ilara felt a chill run down her spine. We need to investigate these sites immediately. If they're connected to the lunar relic, they could provide answers. The UNSD launched expeditions to Mars, Europa, and Titan, where teams uncovered additional artifacts buried beneath the surface. Each one mirrored the lunar relic in design and emitted the same signal upon activation. Together, they formed a network that amplified the transmission. The warning. As the network signal reached full strength, humanity received its first response. A massive energy disturbance was detected at the edge of the solar system. Telescopes and probes captured a phenomenon unlike anything ever seen, a tear in space-time, from which a fleet of colossal biomechanical ships emerged. The vessels were unlike any human creation. Their surfaces pulsed with a bioorganic glow, and their shapes defied conventional geometry, appearing as if they were alive. Panic spread across Earth as the ships advanced toward the inner planets. The means Ilara's team managed to partially decode a fragment of the signal in a desperate bid to understand what was coming. The translation sent shockwaves through the scientific community. Caretakers returning. Compliance required. Humanity's miscalculation. We've misjudged everything, Ilara said in a meeting with global leaders. The artifacts aren't relics of an extinct civilization. They're part of an active system designed to monitor emerging species like ours. The signal wasn't just a message, it was a summons. General Drake was quick to respond. Then we have no choice but to treat them as hostile. Prepare all planetary fences. Ilara shook her head. If we attack, we risk provoking a force far beyond our understanding. We need to find a way to communicate, to demonstrate that we're not a threat. Because it was a tender time, the clock was ticking. The alien fleet, dubbed Caretakers by the media, halted at the orbit of Jupiter as if assessing humanity's response. The world was at a crossroads. Prepare for war or attempt to bridge an impossible gulf of understanding. The revelation. As tensions reached a breaking point, Ilara made a breakthrough. The artifact network contained a hidden layer of data, a message encoded in mathematics, the universal language. It revealed the purpose of the Caretakers, to assess whether humanity had achieved a level of harmony and technological maturity necessary for inclusion in a greater galactic order. But the message also carried a dire warning. Any sign of aggression would be interpreted as failure, resulting in humanity's eradication to preserve the balance of the galaxy. We thought we were alone, Ilara whispered to herself. We thought we were in control. We thought wrong. The decision now rested with humanity. Would they face the Caretakers with open hands or clenched fists? The future of Earth hung in the balance as the world prepared for its first contact with a force far greater than itself. We thought wrong, shattering of human assumptions. The Caretaker's arrival had shattered humanity's long-held beliefs about its place in the universe. For centuries, humans had assumed themselves alone, unique in their ability to think, create, and dominate their environment. The activation of the alien artifacts and the subsequent emergence of the Caretaker fleet unraveled this narrative in mere weeks. Yeah, the silent approach. The Caretaker fleet remained stationed in Jupiter's orbit, its ships forming a constellation of incomprehensible power. Earth's most advanced sensors scanned the alien vessels for weeks, gleaning nothing useful. Their energy signatures defied known physics, and their configurations, organic yet mechanical, seemed to shift subtly over time, as though alive. On Earth, the public's reaction was one of collective unease. Some viewed the Caretakers as gods, benevolent overseers come to shepherd humanity into an age of enlightenment. Others feared them as harbingers of doom, their silence a prelude to destruction. Ilara Voss, now a central figure in humanity's response, worked tirelessly with her team to decode the artifact's secondary message. The first contact had been terrifyingly brief, but Ilara suspected the Caretaker's presence held deeper meaning than mere judgment. "They're observing us," she told Ravi Patel during a late-night brainstorming session. "Every move we make, every signal we send, they're watching." "But why aren't they responding?" "Unbeknownst," Ravi nodded, his expression grim. "Maybe we failed their test already." Divided Earth? The world's leaders were anything but unified. The Global Defense Initiative, led by General Marcus Drake, pushed for an aggressive stance. "We cannot trust silence," Drake declared during a tense UN summit. "The longer we wait, the more vulnerable we become. We must prepare to strike, if necessary." Opposing him were scientists and diplomats who advocated for caution and communication. Ilara led this contingent, arguing that humanity's first assumption that power equated to survival might lead to disaster. "And we're projecting our fears onto them," she explained to the assembly. "The Caretaker's technology is centuries ahead of ours. If they intended to destroy us, they wouldn't hesitate. Their silence might be an opportunity for us to prove our worth." Despite her plea, the GDI began mobilizing Earth's limited space fleet. Orbital defense platforms were activated and nuclear payloads prepared. The shadow of mistrust loomed over every decision. Secrets of the network. Meanwhile, Ilara's team made a breakthrough. By cross-referencing the artifact's coordinates with ancient star charts, they uncovered a pattern. The artifacts were part of a galaxy-spanning network, each node aligned with a habitable star system. Earth's node, the lunar relic, was merely one piece of a vast puzzle. "The network isn't just for communication," Ravi explained, projecting a hologram of the interconnected nodes. "It's a monitoring system. Each artifact records and transmits data about its host civilization." "Like a report card," Ilara murmured. "And what happens if the grade is failing?" Further analysis revealed another chilling discovery. Embedded in the artifact's transmissions was a record of humanity's history. Wars, environmental degradation, technological advancements, and cultural achievements. The Caretakers knew everything. The test. As the world grappled with this revelation, the Caretakers finally broke their silence. A single transmission emanated from their fleet, directed simultaneously at the artifacts in every major communication hub on Earth. The message was simple yet profound. Present your case. Humanity was stunned. The message was both a challenge and an opportunity. What case could humanity make for its survival? The United Nations scrambled to assemble a global council of scientists, philosophers, and leaders to craft a response. Elara, now leading the scientific delegation, pushed for transparency. We have to show them everything, she argued. Our triumphs and our failures. They need to see who we truly are. General Dre countered. That's naive. If we reveal our weaknesses, we'll only invite annihilation. We need to project strength. In the end, a compromise was reached. Humanity's case would highlight its capacity for growth, resilience, and cooperation. A comprehensive message was prepared detailing humanity's scientific achievements, artistic expressions, and efforts to address global challenges. The message included no mention of the GDI's ongoing military preparations. An unexpected revelation. The response was transmitted to the caretakers. Days passed with no reply, tension mounting as Earth waited. Then, the fleet moved. One ship broke formation, descending into Earth's atmosphere with a precision that defied belief. It landed in the Sahara Desert, its surface shimmering like a mirage. A delegation was assembled to approach the ship with Elara at its head. As they neared the vessel, a section of its hull dissolved, revealing an interior of shifting light and shadow. From within emerged a figure, humanoid but unmistakably alien. Its translucent skin revealed intricate networks of light, and its eyes, if they could be called that, gleamed with an intelligence that seemed to pierce through time itself. The being's first words, spoken in flawless English, shattered humanity's assumptions once more. We did not summon you. You summoned us. Terra did me. The implications? The delegation was taken aboard the alien vessel where the caretakers revealed the truth. The artifacts were indeed monitors, but their purpose was not to judge, but to guide. Civilizations capable of activating the network were deemed ready for a critical choice, to join the galactic order or remain isolated. But there was a catch. The activation of the network was a signal of maturity, a civilization's readiness to rise above its base instincts. Humanity's simultaneous embrace of militarization and cooperation was a contradiction the caretakers found troubling. You are on the threshold, the Analyte alien emissary explained to Elara. Your species shows promise, yet you cling to fear and conflict. The path forward is yours to choose. A fractured decision? The caretaker's ultimatum threw Earth into chaos. The choice was clear. Humanity could disarm and embrace unity, joining the galactic community, or continue down its current path, risking isolation or worse. Elara became the voice of reason, advocating for cooperation and trust. This is our chance to prove we've learned from our mistakes, she urged. We've been given an opportunity no other species on Earth has ever had. Let's not squander it. General Drake, however, saw things differently. We can't risk leaving ourselves vulnerable, he warned. If we disarm, we'll be at their mercy. We have to show strength, even in the face of the unknown. The world's nations were split. Protests erupted in cities across the globe, citizens demanding transparency and accountability. Debates raged in governments, with alliances forming and fracturing as leaders struggled to decide humanity's fate. The final transmission. As the deadline approached, the caretakers issued one final transmission. The choice is yours: unity or division, progress or stagnation, evolution or extinction. Humanity had assumed it would face judgment from the stars. Instead, it found itself judged by its own actions and decisions. The question was no longer whether the caretakers would save or destroy them, but whether humanity could save itself. Ilara stood on the observation deck of the UNSD facility, staring up at the night sky. The alien fleet glimmered like distant stars, silent and waiting. "We thought we were ready," she whispered. "And we thought we understood the universe. We thought wrong." We thought wrong, a desperate fight for survival. The Caretakers' ultimatum hung over humanity like a storm cloud. Despite Ilara Voss's fervent pleas for unity, the world remained fractured. Decades of mistrust and rivalry between nations erupted into open discord as leaders wrestled with the impossible choice: dismantle their defenses and embrace the unknown, or stand firm and risk annihilation. As the deadline approached, tensions on Earth boiled over. Protests turned into riots, and whispers of rogue nations seizing the opportunity to attack their rivals grew louder. The clock was ticking, and humanity's divisions deepened, the catalyst for chaos. In the chaos, a faction within the Global Defense Initiative, GDI, led by a disillusioned Admiral Harris, made a fateful decision. Convinced that the caretakers' silence masked an inevitable invasion, Harris authorized a covert operation to launch a preemptive strike. Using a fleet of stealth drones equipped with newly developed quantum disruption warheads, the rogue faction targeted the caretaker ship in the Sahara. The warhead struck the alien vessel with precision, generating a massive explosion visible from orbit. For a moment, it seemed as though humanity had achieved a victory, however, short-lived. And as was built into the system rotating on an axis, it was for a period, the amount of credit that gets it, but as the smoke cleared, the truth became evident. The caretaker ship remained unscathed, its surface shimmering as though the attack had never occurred. Moments later, a pulse of energy radiated from the ship, disabling satellites, drones, and communications across half the globe. The caretakers had spoken, and their response was devastating. Near individual level, the consequences of defiance. The energy pulse marked the beginning of what the media called the silent war. The caretakers made no overt moves against humanity, but unleashed a series of subtle, calculated actions. Global power grids failed intermittently, critical infrastructure crumbled, and Earth's technological backbone began to collapse. Entire cities were plunged into darkness, and supply chains disintegrated. At the UNSD Lunar Research Facility, Ilara watched helplessly as the world spiraled into chaos. The artifacts, once humanity's greatest discovery, now emitted a steady, ominous hum. It was as if the network was recording humanity's failure in real time. "We've provoked them," she said, her voice trembling. "This isn't retaliation, it's a warning." Ravi Patel, her steadfast colleague, frowned as he studied the latest data. If they wanted to destroy us, they could have done it already. Why toy with us like this? Ilara's gaze hardened. "Because they're giving us one last chance to prove we're worth saving." It's the turning point. Amid the chaos, a small coalition of nations and independent organizations rallied behind Ilara. They formed a unity accord, a last-ditch effort to establish communication with the caretakers. and demonstrate humanity's capacity for cooperation. Using salvage technology and limited resources, they constructed a massive transmission array in Antarctica, far from the conflicts raging across the globe. The array, nicknamed the Beacon, was designed to send a message encoded in the same mathematical language found in the artifacts. Ilara spearheaded the project, pouring every ounce of her expertise into crafting a message that would resonate with the caretakers. As the beacon neared completion, opposition mounted. General Drake, now leading a fractured and desperate GDI, viewed the Unity Accord as traitors. "You're giving them exactly what they want," he growled during a confrontation with Ilara. "Submission." "This isn't submission," Ilara shot back. "It's survival. If we can show them we're capable of more than fear and violence, we might stand a chance." Drake's response was chilling. "And if you're wrong, we'll be handing them the keys to our destruction." Desperate gambit. As the beacon prepared to transmit its message, the caretaker fleet made its first move. One of their colossal ships broke from formation and began a slow, deliberate trajectory toward Earth. Panic swept the planet as its approach became clear. "They're targeting the beacon," Ravi said, his voice tight with fear. Oh. Ilara shook her head. "No, they're testing us. If we abandon the transmission, it's over. We have to finish what we started." With the alien ship's arrival imminent, the Unity Accord faced sabotage attempts and attacks from rogue factions. Ilara and her team worked around the clock, defending the site while completing the final stages of the transmission. When the alien ship entered Earth's atmosphere, its presence was overwhelming. The ground trembled, and the sky turned to a kaleidoscope of light. The caretaker vessel hovered over the Antarctic base, its intent unclear. Ilara stood before the control panel, her hand trembling as she initiated the transmission. "This is it," she whispered. "Everything we are, everything we could be, it's all in this message." The beacon emitted a piercing beam of light, carrying humanity's plea into the heavens. The encoded message detailed humanity's struggles and triumphs, its capacity for destruction and creation, and its enduring hope for a better future. And so it was the judgment. For what felt like an eternity, the caretaker vessel remained motionless. Then a column of light descended from the ship, engulfing the beacon. The transmission array disintegrated, leaving behind only silence. Ilara fell to her knees, her heart sinking. "It wasn't enough," she murmured. But then a new transmission began. The artifacts across the solar system activated in unison, projecting a message visible to every corner of Earth. "The capacity for unity exists within you. Prove it." The caretaker fleet retreated to the edge of the solar system, their presence a distant reminder of the challenge issued. The message was clear: humanity had been granted a reprieve, but the true test had just begun. A new dawn, you. In the aftermath, the world grappled with the lessons of the caretaker's visit. The silent war had exposed humanity's weaknesses, but it also highlighted its resilience. The Unity Accord gained momentum, inspiring a movement toward global cooperation. Ilara became a symbol of hope, her actions proving that courage and collaboration could prevail even in the face of insurmountable odds. But she knew the fight was far from over. "The caretakers didn't leave because they trust us," she said during a global broadcast. "They left because they're watching. Every choice we make from here will determine whether we survive or fall. We thought we understood the stakes. We thought wrong."